It's my privilege to do this conversation with you. I forgot to acknowledge you. So please don't give me shrap. Mere baki baal na ud jaye. So let me introduce His Eminence the 8th Choekyong Palga Rinpoche of Ladakh. He's a Buddhist teacher and a spiritual seeker, and I like him. His hairstyle and my hairstyle are similar. So I quite like him. Please give him a big round of applause. Sir. So how should I address you? No, whatever you tell me. His Eminence is good. Yeah, I'll call you. First of all, you've been listening to the sessions since the morning. You made an effort to come from Ladakh. I have never had the good fortune of coming to Ladakh. I hope you invite me to Ladakh one day. When are you inviting me?
Actually, I might be going back within a week.
So you're inviting me after that?
You're welcome, but it's extremely cold. So
yeah,
I suggest you don't come during winter.
Yeah, maybe I'll come in summertime. But you've been here since the morning. What is your commentary on the sessions when you've been listening to all the experts? You listen to Luke, Dr. Kothari, Dr. Samir Parekh, the happiness experts, the astrologists, numerologists. Just now, to listen to Samir, I did a conversation with Samir a couple of weeks back. What has been going through your mind sitting there?
To be honest with you, very educational, very invigorating, and to see all these people from different backgrounds express their opinions, their thoughts, and their methods and the principles about health and well-being was very educating for me, and I was really trying to absorb everything. Though I think most of them were very concerned with addressing our issues regarding happiness and well-being externally and not that much internally. So the topic of meditation and calm abiding and doing a retreat and looking within, I think it wasn't as much as looking outside.
Thank you so much. Again, how do you balance life between being soulful, being selfless, and being materialistic? Because if you go within, you still can chase material milestones. Possibly you chase them with balance, equanimity, and with a sense of purpose, because everything we do beyond the point money doesn't really impact. So how does a worldly person like me, I'm worldly in every sense of it, right? I'm worried about how much sponsors, how much money is, and sometimes it's not about break even on profit. It's about, if this conference is so good, we must sell. So I'm always seeking numbers while I'm all about experiences. So how does one balance the inward and the outward? Is there a playbook?
Yeah, actually, it's a very interesting question. And just to share a little bit about myself, I belong to this lineage from the Himalayas. We call it the dragon lineage. And in our monastic system, we have different hierarchies. For example, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is an avatar, he's the 14th. So in my own reincarnation, line of reincarnation, I'm the 8th. And I lived abroad for many years when I was young, and I've been through so much in my life, which I don't have time to relate all my story. But at one point, I was living like a normal person.
Abnormal now.
Normal person.
You're normal also.
Hanji. So
my thing is to stay normal. That's a very tough thing.
So I lived normally as
you mean you lived a
layperson's Hanji.
Layman's.
Hanji. Because I wanted to experience what people go through in their daily lives. In the monasteries, when we are brought up.
Did you get married?
No, I didn't. Yes.
Then you haven't lived a normal life, but that's another.
But in the monasteries.
I hope you pardon me for this. Okay?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Forgiveness is a good virtue.
It is. And I'm practicing it right now. No, but in our monastic system, avatars, reincarnations such as us, we do have the option of taking vows of celibacy, of monkhood or not. So I chose to become a bit more liberal. I wanted to experience life and to see the world. And I could not do that if I took the vows and locked myself in a monastery. At one point in my life, I was in Europe for a good number of years, and I met some very good friends. I had the good fortune of accumulating a lot of wealth through these rich sponsors. I invested in the stock market in Apple. I became a multi-millionaire, and I bought a lot of cars, Hummers, Porsche Cayenne.
Where are they?
Let me finish. So I also had like a Mini Cooper, BMW. At the end, I bought a Maserati Grand Cabrio,
I mean,
which is a
you shouldn't
convertible.
make other people jealous. Are you doing this on purpose?
No, I'm trying to be more relatable to you.
Got it,
Because
got it.
sitting here with a
We love it.
shaved head, with the red robes, and sitting cross-legged on the chair, how will you relate to me? Why should you listen to me? So I'm explaining to you why I relate
But
to you.
most people haven't bought a Maserati. Anybody owns a Maserati here? Anyone? Oh, there's one person. Mr. Pathak, you own a Maserati? I didn't know that. I should have met you earlier. Okay. And who else? Raise the hand. Oh, Chetan owns in what? Like in your dream, Chetan? Okay, clearly. And you, sir? Siddharth, you also own a Maserati? I'll treat you nicer, okay?
So
But jokes
I
apart.
live the high life, so to speak.
You're
And,
setting a context that I understand the materialistic normal life.
हाँ, तो अभी आपने जिसे कहा कि as a lay person, like money really doesn't bring true happiness. आपने मुझे कहा, so I'm trying to
I
relate
think
to that.
otherwise, but
हाँ
that's
जी. So I had all this good life. I made a lot of money, and I have photos and videos to prove them, though I'm embarrassed to show them on the big screen. Maybe I'll send them to you at a later date.
I want to Google
A
you.
Snapchat maybe.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, so I just grew disillusioned.
Why?
Because it was not the kind of happiness I was looking for. It was not the sustainable and spontaneous happiness. It was always dependent on something else. It was dependent on this big car. It was dependent on 5-star hotels. It was dependent on Michelin food. It was dependent on this social circle, which are very difficult to keep up with. And you just kind of get lost in this big world of materialism. So,
Luke, I want to be like him when I grow up now. I want to be like you when I grow up.
so basically, materialism is not the problem.
How did you make that switch? Because most people, see, our consciousness goes up, we face certain experiences, we are forced to go within. How did you make that switch? Because that's very difficult. For example, I've said this before, I'm very meticulous in my own way, I'm very perfectionist. When things don't happen my way, sometimes I'm like frustrated, I express it, and sometimes express it very passionately. I'm using very positive words to describe something very negative. I'm angry, and I'm trying to minimize, and I've got to, let's say, 2 on 10, maybe 1 on 10. Some friends tell me I'm at 1 on 10. But it's very difficult to make the switch, to change your habits, to change your expectations from yourselves, from the environment. How did you make that switch?
I used my awareness to gain the wisdom to understand impermanence and the futility of running after materials. I understood that materialism itself is not the problem is attachment. So
that's why whenever I send an email, no attachments.
It's a good joke. I don't know whether to be serious or to make jokes. If
Okay.
you want to go there route, trust me, I can be very funny.
Okay. We love 1 or 2, but yes, good.
But sometimes that switch is made for you because of circumstances that are beyond your control. For example, like the COVID pandemic that happened, a lot of people are making that switch. That's why happiness and well-being are topics that people are speaking a lot these days. I personally got disillusioned with a certain lifestyle and decided to come back to my spiritual roots. And then I locked myself up for 3 years and 3 months in a small 10 by 10 feet room. And we did meditation in the mountains of the Himalayas in the winter, where it goes down to minus 30. And you have to meditate in just this meditation belt, underwear. And it's in January in Ladakh. So you easily talking about minus 30, though I didn't take a thermometer with me. I'll make sure I'll take it this time. And we have to meditate on our inner heat, yoga, and the power of meditation to purify our negative emotions. So yeah, the change happened to me. I got disillusioned with a certain lifestyle. I came back within to look within myself for happiness. And right now, I won't use the word happiness. I would use the word bliss, blissful, very peaceful, like very serene, tranquil. Like the famous Pangong Lake in Ladakh, आपने देखा होगा, जहाँ पर 3 Idiots का shooting हुआ था. It's a very serene lake. So I feel like that lake. And once you transform yourself into a big lake, उसमें आप जितने भी पत्थर मारो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. उसमें आग तो लगेगा ही नहीं लगेगा.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful analogy. And tell me, when you made the switch, you said you're in a state of bliss. How were you able to convert other people to make this switch? guide other people to, because you have a higher purpose. That's why you're doing what you're doing. So while you transformed yourselves, you talked about, you said attachment, but I'd say expectations. I use the word expectation. So how did you make sure that you change other people's expectations? You help them make the switch. Give us a sense of how you were able to accomplish that.
By always listening to them, by talking to them, by holding their hands, by looking them in the eyes, and telling them that they're okay.
Yeah.
Despite all their faults.
First person on camera who said, I'm okay. Say it once more. I'll play it to my wife.
You're okay, and you're fine the way you are.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. We should never judge anyone. We are beautiful the way we are, with hair, without hair. Yeah. मुझे भी मालूम है. I also. We should.
You have a fertile top. I may not have a fertile top. But anyway.
And honestly speaking, we can't always be in a state of happiness. We can't always be in a state of okay. So one of my philosophies, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay sometimes not to be okay. It's okay to go through some pain. Just makes you stronger. Try to use your awareness to learn from pain. Yeah. Try to use your awareness to gain the wisdom of learning through pain and make yourself stronger. We only have 5 minutes, so I can't really go very much into
the advantage of pain is at least you're more compassionate to others. At least, you understand people more and you're able to relate and sometimes help people more.
If I may interrupt you one second here. So because of the shortness of time, I can't elaborate too much on all the messages that I want to share. It'll take me many hours and maybe a few days. But just to sum it up, I want everybody to remember a few core principles of my philosophy, which is inspired by the Buddha's philosophy. It is compassion, karuna, not corona. So though when I was in Bombay recently, I was
you mean the beer corona?
नहीं, वो भी नहीं.
Corona.
No, beer भी नहीं, वो disease भी नहीं. Or make that emotion, the empathy, karuna, there's a Sanskrit word, compassion, to understand the suffering of other people, to relate to the suffering side of the people, love, to wish them happiness, to relate to the happiness side of the people, awareness, to be aware, to be in a state of awareness through meditation, through being in the moment, through meditation, being in a state of awareness to gain wisdom. I call it CLAW, claw, a claw to climb out of samsara.
Compassion, love,
awareness, wisdom. Compassion and love to projected towards others, awareness and wisdom projected towards yourself. So if you use the principles of compassion and love, awareness and wisdom, if you understand the true meanings of them, if you know how to apply them, you can come out of the claw to come out of samsara, to come out of your negative state.
Thank you so much. It's personally, I'm talking to you while I'm a joke. Inside, I'm thinking about some very serious stuff. Tell me, sometimes people hurt you, and there can be people who are very close to you, and they don't even know they're hurting you. You're there looking at it from their perspective. How do you deal with it? Someone who loves you, don't know they're hurting you, and they continue to. How do you deal with that?
It's a very simple method. We don't see people as negatives. We don't see even our enemies as negatives. We see our enemies as our biggest benefactors. Because to be generous, you can give alms to so many billions of people. दुनिया में भिखारी की कमी नहीं है. आपके पैसे खत्म हो जाएंगे, लेकिन भिखारी खत्म नहीं होंगे. To practice meditation, there's so many methods. To practice morality, there's so many methods. To practice patience, you need an unprovoked enemy. To practice patience, you can't slap somebody and just say, I will practice patience. So if you are fortunate enough to have an unprovoked enemy, and especially if the enemy is close to you, a relative or a family member, and by the way, Buddha said we should be careful of our close ones because they have the ability to push the buttons that hurt the most. China or Pakistan ko kuch unko malum nahi hai. They can only press the button to throw a bomb on your head, but our closed ones are the ones we should be most careful about. They have the potential to push buttons that literally make you go mad and make you lose your hair in the process. But we see our enemies not as somebody who's harming you, but as someone who can teach you patience.
Beautiful. I think that's a beautiful thing I take back. Patience is something I'm trying to imbibe. I think I can be more patient. I want to ask you one more question and bring in the audience. We live in an era of social media where comparison, when I was younger, I learned this phrase, comparison is the thief of happiness. Okay. But I compare, I sometimes, well, not now, maybe 2, 3 years, I post and see how many likes. And, a lot of people do. And I'm using that as a metaphor where it's such a big competition. And, in business, it's okay, but in personal life, it's not okay. So how do you make sure that you're unimpacted by competition? You value what you have, whatever level you have, as an individual or as a professional?
It's a very relevant question, especially because we live in the digital era, in the era of social media, that we are so influenced by what we see on our small 5-inch screen. My personal practice and what I advise to people is never to look at somebody who has more than you and to wish that, oh, kash mere paas wo gaadi hoti, kash mere paas ye alishan bangla hota.
Kash maine IPO kar liya hota.
Haan ji. So if you always focus on what you don't have, you end up, having nothing. Be thankful and grateful for what you already have. In a nutshell, that glass half empty, glass full wala, I use that principle. I look at my life and I am grateful for what I have. I have a small Swift.
What if I don't drink from the glass, I drink from the bottle?
That is also fine, as long as the bottle is half full. Yeah, if you see the bottle is half full and not half empty. चाहे वो whiskey का हो, चाहे वो पानी का हो, चाहे दूध का हो.
मैं पीता नहीं.
Yeah. So anything, like however you approach someone, whenever you see someone, always focus on what you already have and be grateful. I'll give you one small example before we wrap it up. Last time when I was in Bombay, I was doing this teaching, tour for about 1 week. I had gone to Pune to give a TED talk. Then on the way, I was in Bombay for about 10 days. And my host, he organized this very nice car, a big BMW X7, a nice SUV, brand new. I was the first one to sit in the car. He wanted Ashirwad from me. And I was in the car. And outside, I saw this auto wala. Okay, he was in his auto. He was eating some pan and he was sitting like this. The traffic was stuck, and he was doing this to me. Kya life hai, You know what I mean? Kya life hai, kya mast hai. He was doing this to me. My privacy screen was not shut, so he could see me. I folded my palms in that, simple moment, and I looked to my right. There was this big Rolls Royce. I saw this rich, people who are sitting inside. I couldn't see their face, but I could imagine them sitting inside. There was this big Rolls Royce. So instead of looking at the Rolls Royce and wishing I was in the car, I looked at the auto wala and I was thankful that I was in this big, nice car with AC blowing on my face. I had like 4 or 5 bottles of water. He had this yellowed bottle of Coke, 1.5 liter wala jo Coke ka bottle hota hai, usme pani bhar ke it had become yellow. He had a scarf around his face, and you know how Bombay can be so humid. He was wiping his face, and I was happy to have AC on my face. I was happy to have this clean bottle of water. And in one moment, I could feel कि बच्चे का, बच्चों की शादी कब होगी? ये कर्ज कब खत्म होगा? ये भाग-दौड़ वाली दुनिया, जिंदगी कब खत्म होगी? I could feel his pain.
अगला customer कब मिलेगा?
अगला customer कब मिलेगा? So.
No, I always say I'm very, very blessed. First, I have the blessings of my parents. I have a lovely wife, 2 kids. And I have been part of building 2 companies, and I've met some amazing people in my life. I'm very, very blessed. I want to bring in some questions from the audience, if there are questions. Puneet wants to ask. Puneet used to be CEO of Barista. He started a tech company now, consumer durables company, a food company. I'm sure he'll make it very big. Puneet, your question.
Thank you so much. It was quite invigorating, whatever you spoke. Chief, I wanted to ask you, you had a stint in Europe and of course the Western world. And of course, as a teenager or a youth, you wanted to explore and go and figure out the world. My question is very pinpointed. Do you believe in the law of karma and the theory of karma? Why I'm saying so is obviously everybody in their childhood or their youth, when they explore life, they create karmas consciously and subconsciously. So now that you've attained so-called Buddhahood, or you've kind of reached a level whereby you're in a bliss mode, do you fear that unconscious karma which you created is going to come back to you, or what's the way forward?
Yes, we do believe in karma. In Buddhism, we don't believe in a God who decides for us, who harms us, who showers blessings on us. Because there is a problem with that theory. Then how can God be selective? How can God be racist? What about those black people who suffered needlessly for centuries? What about us Indians who suffered for more than 250 years? And who worships God more than us? भगवान का पूजा करना किसको ज्यादा मालूम है हमारे सिवा? Who knows more than us? So where was God for the 250 years? Why did we have to suffer so much? So in Buddhism, it doesn't make sense. It's a very logical sort of philosophical way of life. We don't consider Buddhism a religion, it's a way of life. So you can be a Hindu practitioner, you can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, and you can walk the Buddhist path without even knowing it. So in Buddhism, we don't believe in the God concept, we believe in karma, basically cause and effect. अभी जैसे देखिए मुझे प्यास नहीं है क्योंकि मैं वहां पर पानी पी रहा था. अभी मुझे भूख नहीं है because I had this beautiful food. So who gave me the water? Yeah, who gave me the water? This hotel, this arrangement provided me the water. Who cooked the food? The chef cooked the food. So I'm not thankful to God, or I'm not thankful to whatever you want to call it. I'm thankful for my own karma of coming here, or of getting into the car and coming here and then attending this banquet, attending this function where I could be fed and where I could learn. So we believe in the concept of karma. Coming back to your question, yes, I have accumulated lots of different karmas, good and bad. And the karma is not necessarily destined. You can erase it. You can change your karma by committing good karma. By doing good karma, you can eradicate your bad karma by engaging in wholesome conduct, body, speech, and mind. Physically helping people, physically being kind to people.
Yeah, he's gifting me his Maserati.
I've sold it already. I can give you the picture though. Uska photo मैं आपको दे सकता हूँ. Yeah.
Thank you.
But verbally speaking politely and kindly, and then with your mind having love and compassion for people. So with body, speech, and mind, you can accumulate good karma and change your life.
Cholanji wants to ask a question, one more, but that lady in boy, you're a kid.
उपासना की उपलब्धि के लिए काम वासना का दमन करना जरूरी है क्या? उपासना की उपलब्धि के लिए काम वासना का दमन करना जरूरी है क्या? सिर्फ ध्यान से ऊर्ध्वगमन नहीं हो सकता? सिर्फ ध्यान करने से लेविटेट नहीं हो सकता? कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं आगे बढ़ सकती? एक्सपेंशन ऑफ अवेयरनेस नहीं हो सकती? क्या उसके लिए काम वासना का दमन करना बहुत जरूरी है? Okay, can one be deeply dissolved in spirituality, in divinity, without transcending lust, biological needs?
He's done it. That's why he's.
I understand, but I see his biceps very strong. He still feels the need of physical gratification.
If you live in Ladakh, which is 3,500 meters above sea level, where the oxygen level is close to zero, you need a lot of physical health in Ladakh. These are developed, in Ladakh, aapki body to वैसे ही बन जाएगी. You lift one bag, a small bag of santara, it is like lifting one atta wala bag, in Delhi. But jokes aside, I do a lot of yoga, so I couldn't share all my story. I do lots of physical exercises. So I like weightlifting for my strength. I do yoga for my stretch, and I do high intensity interval training, HIIT, for my stamina. I do chantings verbally for my to purify my verbal karma, and I do meditation for my mind. So I focus on body, speech, and mind. It is not just sitting in a room all day. In terms of lust and all, I mean, I will have to explain this at a more relaxed way. But just to say quickly, materialism or any kind of engagement is not the problem. The problem is attachment. The problem is attaching hooks to people, to relationships, and not letting go, and not understanding that all compounded phenomena is impermanent and not going to last forever. And you have to understand to let it go.
But His Eminence, let me, having some expectations is a natural outcome of relationship, isn't it?
Basically, it's good not to have expectations. The ultimate goal, in my opinion, in my philosophy, the ultimate goal of love is to try to love without attachment, try to be compassionate without getting emotional, and try to gain wisdom through the state of awareness.
Thank you so much. Last question from Cholanji.
So glad to hear you, and this was very wonderful claw. What is W stands for? I missed out that. Wisdom. All right.
It's
yes,
what I
correct,
stand for.
Correct.
This is what I.
Now this W, the wisdom. I'm sure you had a fabulous meditation journey, right? Can we hear a little bit about that? Because
Sure.
quickly, right? And for the benefit of this room, Devika, with your permission, right? A small, short meditation, if you could guide, that would be lovely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So-
Experience.
Very short, very simple. Basically, after I was chosen as the 8th reincarnation of the previous Palga Rinpoche, brought to the monastery, got locked up in a small room from the age of 8 till the age of 16. I'm literally fast forwarding. So I was locked up in a small room every day for almost 8 years, beaten almost every day. Apne Shaolin temple dekhi hogi, like those Kung Fu movies. वो मेरा 37th वाला था. So basically got a very harsh way of discipline. Uske baad, then after coming back, I did my retreat for 3 years and 3 months. You go through a lot of transformation. Or when I talk about wisdom, I'm not talking about education or like, learning through books and all. It's about being aware of your surroundings, of your mind, of the situation that you're facing, and try to learn from each and every moment. Try to grow as a person, because what is the ultimate of education? It is to gain wisdom. It is to become wiser. That is why we go to school. That is why we go to colleges. We pursue all those degrees. So I never got proper education. I only went until 3rd grade. So the English that I speak, I taught myself English in the small room by reading Tintin. And Hindi मैंने चाचा चौधरी और अमर चित्र कथा से सीखी. और उसके बाद some computer through books. So I learned a lot. I gained my wisdom through my awareness, just using my awareness. And also the experiences I had during my meditation. Now, there are many different kinds of meditation. We will just do a very simple one that you can do anywhere, anytime. So, कल अगर आप किसी ठंडे कमरे में होंगे, you're in this very cold room, you're feeling miserable. Immediately do this meditation. You will be in the moment. You will be aware of yourself, of your surroundings. You will literally be very calm in very few seconds. Next time you're in a big 5-star hotel like this, you're in the presidential suite, you have all these luxuries, and you might feel a little bit disillusioned with life if you have bought a new car or whatever. Again, do this meditation. It will literally bring you back to the moment. It will make you very calm. So it's very simple. It is what we call shamatha meditation. In other traditions, they call it vipassana. But it's very simple. You don't have to sit like this, like me. The most important thing is keep your back straight. So come a little bit closer to the edge of the seat, because you keep the chair exactly. It will make your back straight. If you go back, your back will curve. So कुर्सी के थोड़ा आगे आ जाइए तो आपका कमर जो है वो सीधा हो जाएगा. You just sit like this, and you just focus on your breath. You just watch your breath with your mind. You can keep your eyes shut or you can keep your eyes closed. Just be aware of your breathing. In, out, in, out. Don't force it. Don't pay attention to anything else. Not to the cameras, not to the sound of the AC. Watch your breath. Breathe through your mouth as well as through your nostrils. What happens when you meditate like this? You're resting at a very deep level. आजकल क्या होता है कि even after we sleep for 10 hours, 8 hours, उसके बाद भी हमें थकान महसूस होता है. We get tired very fast. We age very fast. Why? Because we're not resting. Our mind is still running in the background. Even if you put the phone in the other room, like we were discussing, your mind is, you can't switch off your mind. Mind को switch off कर लेते हो.
When I sleep, I love what I do. It's not a job for me. It's not a business for me. I really feel I'm blessed. This is the best thing I should have done in life. Like, when I sleep, I swear I go to sleep around 11. From 11 to 12, most days, I get ideas. Like, I get all my ideas that 1 hour. I'm not able to sleep most days. And in fact, a lot of times I bring a piece of paper and pad and write down, because I'm getting business. But that's the only time I'm alone. I don't have my phone. I have nobody around me. And you know, it's good and it's bad because I end up sleeping 1 hour, 2 hours later. That when I'm not looking at my phone at all, but I'm getting ideas one after the other. I'm some situation in the day. So I don't know. So I mean, I actually sleep 1, 2 hours after I got into the bed.
If it's important for you, for your work, maybe you can be in that state, you know, for like maybe 45 minutes, but don't overstay in that state of, you know, thinking and getting ideas because you will tire your mind. But after that, if you manage to meditate, and now when you do this meditation, don't do this for like half an hour or 1 hour. Do it for like 10 minutes only. Put a clock on your mobile, like a timer, do it for 10 minutes, sit somewhere quiet. And then after 10 minutes, just walk around, stretch your legs a little bit because you're not used to it. You have to slowly get used to it. It's like learning how to do repetitions with workouts. And uske baad, you can build your resistance. So do it for 10 minutes, rest for 2 minutes, do it for 10 minutes, rest for 2 minutes.
Thank
Yeah?
you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to His Eminence. Please give him a big, you have a question, I promised you. So we route quickly your question.
It's a quick one. So going back to your Maserati days and everything, I just have a curiosity. Why does anyone who speaks that money doesn't matter is already a millionaire or a filthy rich person?
Sorry?
So why does anyone who preaches or who tells that money doesn't matter actually has experienced a lot of wealth in his life already?
Money matters. Money is neither good nor bad. We have this love-hate relationship with money. The way we should see money is that money is simply potential. If you have a calm state of mind, if you have compassion and love in your heart, you will use that potential for a good purpose. जैसे अनाथ आश्रम बनाना, कोविड के टाइम पे लोगों का इलाज कराना, to help people to go out in the world. But money is neither good nor bad. It depends on how you use it. And okay, maybe I can speak about this now because I was already a millionaire and I had already experienced this because I had experienced it. मैंने देख लिया. तो मैं आपसे ये निवेदन कर रहा हूँ कि मुझ पे भरोसा कीजिए. Like, don't just make that the sole purpose of your life, because when you become a millionaire, you want to become a multimillionaire. When you become a multimillionaire, you want to become a billionaire. When you become a billionaire, then you want to become a multi-billionaire. It just never ends.